Electricast.
Persol and Verilux are teaming up for the ideal eyewear fit, combining timeless design with progressive lenses. Iconic style meets unparalleled vision performance, making the extraordinary effortless. Discover Verilux and Persol and find your local Essilor expert at Essilor.com.
Your teen requested a ride, but this time not from you. It's through their Uber teen account. You drive your teenager around, a lot, to their friend Jacob's house, their other friend Jake's house, to James's, to Jaden's, to Jalen's, to...
Mom? This is Jake's house, not Jacob's.
Now with an Uber teen account, your teen can request a ride under your supervision. They'll ride with a highly rated driver, and with live trip tracking, you'll follow along the whole ride to their friends' houses that all sound the same. Add your teen to your Uber account today. See app for details.
Bye, Mom.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's Missing the Point. It's the Power Ranking Show. It's DK Sizzle and the real BK Bob Kelly. We have Power Ranked again. We have Power Ranked Z, the Zequel. We have Power Ranked for Week 2. A lot of things have happened. There's a lot of things to get through, a lot of storylines. We are going to do the Power Rankings Top 10. Obviously, we'll start with honorable mentions. I would start with the Thursday game, but both those teams are on the list, I believe.
No, the
Dolphins have fallen off.
I think,
so
yeah,
let's start with the Thursday game and the Dolphins falling off the power rankings list despite still having probably the best skill position low down in the league. Is it that Tua going down is that big of a thing?
Yeah.
Or is it that they just haven't looked as convincing as you thought they were going to at the start of the season?
Well, it's Tua going down. I mean, period. That and especially because it was a concussion again, and he's already on IR.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
maybe
it's
he
not
should
like
stop.
Skylar Thompson's got to come out here and light things up.
Maybe he should stop. Maybe he should stop playing football. I just feel like he's gonna have serious, lasting brain damage.
It's honestly up in the air. He was meeting with a neurologist this past week, so
is he? I feel like he should have one on fucking retainer.
Yeah, for real though.
Also, that last one. I mean, it's not funny, but it's like
no, it's not funny. But
it's also dude, really, you have he's first 5 years Sidney Crosby with his concussions, but he's just not doing the thing that Crosby did, which is learn how to not get concussions. Stop leaning into a fucking tackle like that. I don't even think it was a dirty hit.
It wasn't.
My guy went down in head first. I don't. You know what I mean? It's I don't think that was a great move by him. And it's what came first, the chicken or the egg? The concussions or the decisions? You know what I mean? It's damn. A lot of them too, they were him not knowing how to fall, because they did a best of Tua's concussions. Yeah, it was just on the internet. It was all the times he's gotten fucking concussed. And a lot of it was him just I genuinely not knowing how to fall. His head would bounce when most of his body was already on the ground, or maybe he was out on the way down. You know how sometimes you'll see those UFC fighters where it's they hit their head so hard because they're just out before they even start falling.
Yes.
So I don't know, but when he gets his bell rung,
he gets his bell rung. Yeah,
it's so scary. And they've just been oh yeah, just release it fast, but also still play front foot, and we're not going to really beef up your offensive line.
Yeah, so the Dolphins are pretty much done, right?
You think you're crossing off the Dolphins? You're crossing off Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle already?
Well, with Skylar Thompson as quarterback, if they had a service, wish they had Tyrod Taylor or something like that.
I mean,
the Kyler Murray thing that you said.
What's Flacco doing?
Flacco plays for someone.
Does he? He's signed somewhere?
Yeah, he's
Vegas?
signed
Is it Vegas?
No, it's not Vegas.
Oh. I mean, it's not the Browns. Deshaun looked a little bit better. Honorable mention the Browns. They're terrible, but Deshaun looked, I'd say, 4% better than last week. 14% better than last week. Did you watch him? Did you watch him?
Yeah. I didn't. The Jaguars are just not good right now.
Yeah, but I thought they were going to be too.
Yeah, they've lost 8 straight games, something like that. So
I saw that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if is Trevor Lawrence. He
He
was
might be.
supposed to.
He may. It's okay. So it's time to have that conversation.
It is time, bro. It's definitely time to have the Trevor Lawrence
But
conversation.
like it's Trevor Lawrence like minus Calvin Ridley now. Like you thought he was going to be better this year. I mean,
No,
I kind of tried to make the case for like.
not having that conversation. It's
No, I
Calvin.
agree. No, I agree.
It's not
It's in
Justin
the air.
Jefferson. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know. It's in the I mean, you and I both made that point on the prediction show to those other two guys. I was like, no, Calvin Ridley's good, but like, I think like you put Gabe Davis in, it's not like a massive drop off. And I do agree, like, there's something in the air about because I said at the start of the year, I'm like, this is the do or die year for Lawrence. I think we're going to decide, who he actually
I
is.
think we're deciding.
Is Doug Peterson the coach there though?
Yeah, Doug Peterson stinks.
He's so bad. The fact that he's won a Super Bowl is so crazy. Because like he immediately did a book tour. Huh? I know
He
beat the
beat
Pats
the
too.
Patriots in the
And he
Super
beat
Bowl.
him well. And it's like is it one of those things where when you play someone at something you're so much better than them at that it's almost harder because they don't do anything right. So you can't fake them out one way because they don't even know how to like go that way. So that's how the Eagles won that Super Bowl. I don't know. I just think Peterson since then, like obviously going on a book tour when you win a Super Bowl, how I beat Belichick.
Let's go have a snack. Isn't that remember that?
Yeah,
whole thing?
whatever the fuck. I mean, dude, that's act like you've done it before at least. Yeah, and the visor coaches. Like I defy you to name me one successful, like non-insufferable visor coach. Like I think you should see it coming a mile away. And like everybody's like, oh, like Nagy, look at Nagy. He's the offensive coordinator at the Chiefs again. Like maybe it was the Bears' fault, not his fault. I'm like, does you see a visor on his head? No. He goes full ball guy now. You can be full ball guy and you can be a good coach. Matt Nagy doesn't visor up anymore because he knows. Because it's a deal with the devil and you don't get anything out of it at the end of the day. You had a visor guy for a long time.
I did have a visor
guy. A visor guy for a long time. And how was that? How'd that go for you in Dallas?
Jason Garrett, yeah.
How'd that go in Dallas with Jason Garrett and his visor? Exactly.
Did he wear the visor? No, I think he wore the hat.
No, he was a visor guy. I think he might have split because I can actually picture him in both. But he was definitely a visor guy for at least briefly. Was Gruden a visor?
Gruden's definitely a visor guy.
Yeah. And like what kind of ludicrous energy does that guy bring to your football team? I mean, you remember the year all you fuckers were trying to convince me he was a good football coach? And I was like, no. No way. Okay, who else for honorable mentions? I guess we should talk about the Sunday night primetime game, the my Chicago Bears. I was a little surprised that the group chat was like, are you okay? Are you having a meltdown? Are you all right? And I was like, that was at halftime when we were down 6.
It's because of the offense. The offense is pretty brutal.
I think it's because we are in a group chat with a bunch of Patriots fans, and like the Patriots fan thing to do is to fucking overreact. Like you're on the phone to WEI after every game.
That's what the power rankings like. They want me to overreact to everything, and it's just.
I don't think you should. That's the thing. That was the point I was making today.
Yeah,
we'll get onto that when we come around to the Seahawks and the Ravens because that was a point of contention in our group chat today. We'll discuss, but it's to me. I was like, well, I'm down 6 in a game that I don't think my team's supposed to win. To be totally honest, like. Spoiler alert, the Texans are number 2 in our power rankings. They're there or thereabouts.
It's because everyone lost, but...
Yeah, no, fair enough. But, like, I think CJ Stroud looked the fucking business in that game, to be honest. Like, I think that was the difference. There was a lot of low-quality football across the league, I agree. But, I don't know, like, what I was seeing by the end of the first half is I was like, oh, my defense is pretty good. Like, maybe even a little bit better than I thought they were. We're all like doing our job. We're making our tackles. We're not letting any stupid open field stuff happen. We're stopping the run, which is how the defense is built, which I told you was going to happen. I told you Mixon wasn't going to have a big day against that Bears defense, and that proved to be true. The really big difference was that CJ Stroud was able to make a few plays because he's CJ Stroud. And like the times that it happened, I was even though my team was playing against him, I had to have a couple moments of like, damn, that guy's so good. Like he's so good. And he's got a few more weapons now, but I still think he can pick you apart with Tank Dell. If he's really hard to sack.
Nico Collins is
a beast. He's like fucking 9 feet tall. He's
Jeez.
like, I think he's 467 pounds. He's like a fucking Terminator. Like, I love their skill positions. I like watching their offense play. And I honestly thought overall we did pretty good against them. It all fell apart in the second half because, again, we couldn't establish a running game. And
It was
obviously, the biggest part.
non-existent. DeAndre Swift, I don't know. The knock on him. What do you think? The knock on him is always that he's so soft.
Man
He's
he can't shed a tackle.
yeah,
He
he
can't
is
make
such
the
a
first guy
soft running
miss,
back.
which is,
Yeah,
I just think, the most important thing for a running back because he wasn't facing a ton of pressure
stacked
in the
box.
box. Like, there
Yeah.
wasn't a big stack, like, because they were blitzing a lot, and they blitzed even more when they realized that we couldn't run, regardless of how many guys they had in there. They weren't, even if they overran him on the blocking schemes, he still wasn't, like, getting free. I don't know. He just looked like he was running in fucking molasses. And for me, I'm like, I don't really think we needed to, like, pay DeAndre Swift, to be honest. Like, I thought Khalil Herbert and Roshan Johnson were, like, perfectly serviceable backfield. But here we are. I think Khalil Herbert's gonna get some more touches next week, and I think that's gonna make a difference. I think it's really hard to judge Caleb because that offensive line was so trash. Like, anytime there was more than 4 guys coming, they got through in 1 second. And then also, strangely, the game took fucking forever. Did you
That
notice that? Like,
that game did take forever.
why did it take, like,
I
9
don't
hours?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I was like,
I
"How is
barely
it
made it
still
to the end of
on?"
that game.
I know, it was really weird, and it was a game. Up until, like, the last, like, 3 minutes, it was a
Yeah.
game. I think, like, I'm fine with Caleb throwing the ball
Was it
and,
the
like,
punts? It was the punts. It's
it might
gotta
have
be.
been a lot of punting. I think there's probably a lot of punting. I mean, we have a good punter. That was an upside. I really did like the defense, and I thought that the kind of sky is burning, the sky is falling sort of reaction from people was a little strange because I thought we did pretty well against them. And we're coming up next week against an Indianapolis Colts team who are just letting everyone run all over them. If we can't run on them, then I'll declare that there's a serious problem. There's a serious problem if we can't run on them.
Yeah, what
But
if
I think
Jacobs had like 100 and I don't know,
I mean,
160 yards?
literally, they looked like they weren't even trying to stop the run. Like, every block was a pancake. It was crazy. So maybe that'll get some confidence in the O-line, but I don't know, like, overall, I guess the big question, the big takeaway is, like, can you take anything away from Caleb after that kind of a game? I don't know. I don't know if it, like, it really tells you anything. I thought he made a couple of big boy throws. I thought there was a couple of drops, and I thought there was a few bad throws. So it was kinda like a mixed bag, like, in both games.
How about my boys? Do we take are we in full panic mode after the Cowboys? 41, what was it? 41-17.
I mean, I'm not panicking because I sort of thought this was what was gonna happen.
What
To be
happened to my
honest.
defense, dude? I
I don't think you have a very good coach. I think that's, like, pretty evident now. I think you maybe should have fired him when there was, like,
of
9,000
course
great coaches
we should have fired
available.
him before the season. Yeah, of course.
I mean,
Um,
that could be maybe leveled at the Bears too. You know, like, before the Caleb Williams sweepstakes, I was very like, "Can we just go get Vrabel? Can we just go get Vrabel?"
I would
Like,
have Vrabel it too, yeah.
or Harbaugh. You know, he was a good fit for us too, and I think the majority of the Bears fans wanted Harbaugh. And I'm like, "All right." And it's, it's sort of like
He'd have
our
been good for
organization.
that, the style.
That's what I'm saying. But we don't really pay coaching staff properly in Chicago, which is annoying. But
We wouldn't have given the power, so.
I just don't think McCarthy's like good.
He's not. He's a terrible head coach, and it shows. So, two biggest home games in the last year for the Cowboys were that wild card game and yesterday, and they're both just or the last 2 home games, and they're
They
both
also
just
quit. They also like just quit on the field, which
they
was
just
like,
it's so brutal, man.
I mean, that
It's
was a
so
tough game
brutal.
to watch, to be totally honest with you. It was,
I turned it off after
but it's very reminiscent of what they looked like at the postseason last year.
that's
I
what
just
I'm
think
talking about.
that whatever that is, like whatever that, I don't know. It's really hard to put your finger on something like that or like figure out, who. Now, granted, I think the New Orleans Saints are the only competent looking offense across the entire NFL across
They
2
really
games.
were the
They're
only
the
one.
only team that's looked good both weeks offensively. They're the only team because even the Chiefs, who I thought looked totally revitalized in week 1, I thought that their offense was really, really reminiscent of
Yeah,
the early stages of last year.
yeah, agreed. But I'm not in panic mode yet. It's still early. Well,
I
although
mean,
this week we have spoiler alert, number 10, we had the 0-2 Ravens this week. So,
That's a really tough bounce back game,
yeah,
considering they're also looking for a bounce back game, and I don't think that they're not. I don't think that they're, like, as bad or soft as, like, Mike and everyone in the group chat thinks that they are. I really don't. I think it was a really brutal loss week 1. Really, really close. The game they should have won,
by
and I
a
think there was a
toe.
lot of hangover to that week 2. Now, granted, they should be beating the Raiders, like, they definitely should, but we also did say that
It's a
we're
close
gonna
game
win a
too.
couple.
We don't know. Maybe the Raiders are a little frisky, you know?
We did say that in the prediction show, like, maybe the Raiders are a team that could possibly
Gardner
be
Minshew's
scrappy.
frisky as fuck.
Gardner Minshew, to his credit, loves to win 7 games. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really think of him as, like, a 3-win QB. I think of him as, like, a 7-win QB,
Yeah.
6 and 7. So, somewhere along the line, the Raiders are gonna have to get some wins. I do think they have some decent skill players that, I mean, we're talking relevance to the phase that they're in. I don't think that they're a good team by any stretch, but I also don't think it's the same as losing to the Panthers, right? So, I don't know, we'll see. I mean, as far as the Ravens go, I mean, they are on the power rankings
Do you
still.
want to start? Yeah, we can start. I mean, we should also
Uh,
talk about the 2 teams that could have been here, the Chargers and the Seahawks. So they're both 2-0.
the Chargers, I'm less
Right?
concerned about not being on this list, to be honest, because I also saw a lot of bad things in that Chargers game at the very start. Like, they eventually won, and as they should, they were playing like, maybe the worst team we've seen in a few years. Even worse now, I think that they've, like, I think benched their broken and like, really truly done, never gonna be anything in
A
this
guy
NFL. One of the earliest,
or
I think,
breakdown.
calling, like, death on someone's career I think I've ever seen. For
Jamarcus Russell. What about Jamarcus? Jamarcus Russell is pretty quick.
Well, he, like, never
And
showed up, right?
Ryan
Like,
Leaf.
he, like, never really showed up to, like, work. That's not really the same thing as, like, the kid tried to win. He went out there and tried to win games for a season and 2 games, and it was just so bad. It was just so bad, and it could be literally, like, if you gave him, like, 2 more inches of height. But then again, you look at Kyler, like, I just didn't think Kyler was ever gonna be able to be good because of how small he was. I was like, "There's just no way. He's not gonna be able to see over these lines. These lines are too big." I worry about that with Caleb, for God's sake, and he's meant to be 6'2", but I don't know if I believe it.
He's not 6'2".
He's meant to be on paper. 6'1" and a bit, I think. But Kyler, what's Kyler, 5'8", 5'9"?
5'9". Yeah. I think they list him at 5'10".
What's Bryce? Is Bryce like 5'10",
5'10".
5'11"? 5'10", but like more 5'10" than 5'11"?
Yeah.
Like, did he get to wear the shoes in the photo?
I think so.
Yeah. So, but he looks like short, right? When you watch him play.
He looks
So
he's a little guy.
I just, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't think that beating the Panthers means anything in regards to the power rankings. I don't think it tells you anything. I think, like, everybody's gonna be able to do that.
They're 2-0 though, right?
The Chargers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're talking about, so are the Seahawks, and between the two, who's gonna get moved into the conversation? I see much more of a case.
Seahawks almost lost to the Patriots.
Yeah, the Patriots coughed that
think
up. The Patriots coughed that up, but are the Patriots as bad as we
twice.
thought they were? Are they as bad as we thought they were? Like, they did cough it up, but there was, like, a lot of competence in the first half, like a lot of very competent football in the first half. And I can see
I watched a lot of that Patriots game, and they're not bad. They're not
they're
bad.
not a bad team, I don't
That's
think.
what it
I
is.
really
They're
do
not
think
bad.
that they're well drilled. I think that they're, like, well coached. And I do see it moving the needle slightly more for the Seahawks to beat them than for anyone to beat the Panthers, but Chargers included. And also, Seahawks were without their starting RB1 in Kenny Walker the third, and they still found a way to win. So I saw that about them. I know they have a different coach now, but I saw that about them last season. I thought that they, like, found some scrappiness early on. So I could see them getting in here, but if it's between them and the Ravens, like, I still think the Ravens are going to finish with a better record, even if you're spotting the Seahawks a 2-game head start. I think that the Ravens are still going to finish ahead of them. I think they still have way more good players on their roster, and they've had a tough opening. I agree, but on the road at Arrowhead, I don't think, and almost winning, and Lamar really balling. I think it'd be premature to take the Ravens out. I really do, and I do agree with you. But could you see their point today?
I do. I get it. And like I said, that's why I said those two teams because they're the two that I would have put in here besides the Ravens. But I'm not ready to give up on them yet. You know what I mean?
No,
It's
I'm
not
not either.
it's not time. Although tough matchup this week against the Cowboys. That is who they play, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I would call it a favorable matchup personally. It's
Well,
like
we'll
just
see.
looking at the Cowboys last week, they just did not look on the same page as they should.
There's a good possibility the Cowboys are not a good football
It
team.
could be year from hell. You could be looking down the barrel of a year from hell. That's what I was getting that vibe. The fact that Zeke's back, I'm like, it would be so poetic for it all to
And he's
really
number
come
15
crashing down.
too. He's
Yeah.
not even. I don't
Yeah.
like that he's number 15 either. I don't know what it is.
I just think I think it'd be so poetic for it to all come crashing down with him coming back, and it just the two guys that were signed as the future of the franchise going down in the ship together. I would be unsurprised with how
Yeah.
that's been going on, but you never know. I mean, the Cowboys' schedule is not great, Bob. Is the thing. I would say it's a tougher matchup for you guys this week with the Ravens than it is them for you. Does that make
So
sense?
they have a good bounce back candidate.
Well, so one of them has to be.
One of
Someone's
them.
going to bounce back unless it's
Someone
just a
is.
fucking game from hell,
Yeah.
right? So I guess we'll see.
But yeah.
Bucks,
So Ravens are number 10.
Ravens, number 10. Bucks, number 9. I think valid, to be honest. I mean, I don't know how sustainable it is.
I made them. So the other stickler today was that because the Lions are number 7 ahead of the Bucks, and I know that the Bucks just beat the Lions, but I'm just not ready to put them ahead of the Lions yet. I know the Lions just lost.
I think that the Bucks are
I'm just
are
not sold
perfectly.
on Baker Mayfield and this offense yet.
That's what I
ready
mean,
for
though. It's
crack
it's
time.
not sustainable over the course of the year. So you
Yeah.
can't really elevate them too high in the power rankings until they sort of prove that what we know about their roster
And the
is
beat-
wrong.
beating the Lions is a good win. Don't get me wrong.
But don't the Lions, have you noticed?
Lions
Did it,
gave that game up though.
yeah, well, but have you noticed that that's in their DNA a little bit?
It is what they do.
It's starting to show in a really worrying way for them. I think that they can really cough a game up. They did it really high profile the last 2 playoff runs, and now they're just looking like Campbell just fucking gets overexcited, and we find ourselves in a situation where they lose a winnable game, snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. And so it doesn't tell me a ton about them that I didn't already know. I just didn't know it was this bad. But honestly, I do think the Bucks deserve to be here because you can't take away the fact that fucking Baker's basically been the most efficient QB player in the NFL for the first 2 weeks. So it's like him and Derek Carr, who we'll come on to talk to after this. But really, Baker's
We can talk about them right
efficiency
now.
numbers are insane, and he's winning those games for them. He's just being feisty, he's just, and it is a little bit of a continuation from some flashes that we saw last season. Again, they didn't sustain it, but we did see it.
I like the new brand of football that we've been seeing this year is what Baker Mayfield has been perfecting. Is like this efficient, short game, very West Coast offense type of situations that we have going on. It's not the same high flying open passing game that we've seen in past years. I think I heard a stat that said like in the past years through 2 games it was like 70 passing touchdowns, and this year there's only been like 50 something.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's kind of what Baker's been perfecting is like that short passing game.
Yeah.
The Bucks are the you said the Saints are the only team that looked good 2 weeks in a row. The Bucks have looked good 2 weeks in a row.
I think that the Saints are the only team that look like they have a high flying offense 2 weeks.
Like they're impressive.
Yeah, they looked genuinely like they could score at will against both teams that they played, and the Bucks sort of ground out 2 wins, which I don't hate, as a style. I mean, Mayfield's stat line, I think he threw like 19 passes, completed 12 of them, a pick and a touchdown. So it's like you couldn't have a more down the middle stat line. But his efficiency numbers despite the interception, have been really good, especially like third down conversions, like, just the moments that Mayfield's completing his passes kind of show like a solid veteran presence that I think people are surprised that he developed, and I don't think that's going anywhere. I think I just worry a little bit that the more the tape sort of starts to exist on this. I mean, they have good skill players. Don't get me wrong. I mean, every year we forget about the guys that play at the skill positions in Tampa Bay because Tom Brady isn't there anymore. So they become a non-conversation, and he couldn't make them work. So maybe people think that they're less good than they actually are. But now I think you have this team where it's like, yeah, scrappy is the word. Scrappy's the word. I don't know how they still smell like 8 wins to me, max. I know they're 2-0, but I still think 8 or 9 wins is probably their ceiling. Would you agree? Or do you think more?
I think more. I mean, it's
Think they're going to win 11 games? Like, I just don't
no,
see it.
it's 9 or 10
9 or
max.
10, so slightly more.
Yeah, slightly more.
But that's what then they're what? Then they're 6th or 7th. They're the 6th or the 7th seed, and going into the playoffs, and maybe they can get a little frisky there too. So, watch this space. I mean, I'm not shitting on Baker Mayfield saying that like he doesn't have the ability to lead a team to a winning season and like a playoff run. It's just I'm a little suspicious because I know what they're working with. But that brings us on to also the Saints. It's one of those situations
that, even though they're the best team in the NFL right now. I'm a little suspicious of them too.
I'm extremely suspicious of them because I don't think it's a big deal to beat the Panthers. So we can't forget that that's what they did week 1, right? But they did score 47 points. Then they played against the Cowboys, who have for all intents and purposes, really good top 10 on paper defense, at least, right?
We think.
And they put up another 44 points. They're only 3 points less than the week before. I mean, to me, it smacks of flat track bullying, of being able to beat up on teams that don't come prepared, which is what they did last year as well. It's more that it's surprising that one of the teams was the Cowboys, but I still think the Cowboys didn't come to fucking play. I think it was more if you go to New Orleans or if you play New Orleans and you're not prepared, you're not going to win. That's kind of how they run their team.
Once they get that bomb to Shaheed, I feel like they do it with
Kamara scored like 19 touchdowns.
He did. Yeah.
I mean, it was like, and like he's good. Don't get me wrong. Like these guys are good, and it is very Saintsy how they're scoring, which I think is cool. Like they're little guys, like just flying up the field. It's very like Drew Brees, circa 2005. But
talk about efficient. Derek Carr is like.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. These are some of the most efficient guys in the NFL that we're looking at here. It's intense, So no one could have predicted it. As far as that goes, again, I don't mean to be a naysayer, but your QB is still Derek Carr, dude. He's not going to finish the season as the best QB. It's just not what's going to happen. I'm sorry to tell. I don't mean to rain on everybody's parade. I'm not saying my guy is either. He's looked a lot better than my guy, but you got to let this league settle. As we talked about this last season. Especially now that it's 17 games. That one game feels like it's elongated the season like 2.5 times. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like it's a little bit more like that every game counted 1.5x more before we like added one game. So now you have just a little bit more breathing room, and you got to let this stuff settle as you move through the league. And I just think, I mean, again, I'd be surprised if the Saints won 11 games. I would genuinely be surprised. That's what they're on track for right now, winning 2. With the division that they're in, they're on pace for 11 wins. And I just don't see that. I just don't, I can't imagine it. Now you could splice this in the future with audio of me being like, I can't fucking believe it. They won 11 games. Like, I don't, maybe more, who knows? It's an unpredictable league, but don't you feel like there's always sort of a little bit of house settling moment as we like enter the league? I'm just not ready to overreact to these things right now.
Yeah, it's too early. I agree. That's
too early to tell.
I feel like in past years I have overreacted on these power rankings, and that's I don't know if maybe this is a little overcorrecting, but
no. See. Here's the thing. Yeah, I think it's very reasonable personally because if you look at the first,
the Lions are 7, so the Lions are above both of these teams.
But look at 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. It's Eagles, Lions, Saints, Bucks, Ravens. 1 or 2 of these teams is going to emerge as legitimately good. And 1 or 2 is going to emerge as legitimately bad or average.
Average, yeah.
And then we'll see. We'll go from there. Like it's going to move in that direction. And if you look at those 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, the Eagles and the Lions to me, and the Ravens, funny enough, are the 3 teams most likely comparatively to the Saints and the Bucks, even though they have worse records. So I understand why the Lions are 7, to be honest, because I still think they're a favorite to go far in the NFC. And if this weekend proved anything to you,
this was my thought process. This was my
no, it makes complete sense.
This was my literal thought process.
But like, if this weekend proved anything to you, it's that the NFC is even weaker than we thought.
It is.
So here we are with the Lions, and because it's power rankings, it's how far these motherfuckers are going to go, And I still think the Lions are favorites to come out of the NFC alongside the 49ers, but we have a conversation to be had there too. Like, I just think it was a weird week. I'm just not trying to overreact, but we touched on the Lions briefly. As far as the Eagles go, I mean, can we chalk that up to like a really dumb mistake by Saquon?
They passed that ball. What the fuck are they? What?
I mean, but Saquon just catches that and it's all over, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's true.
Stopping the clock is obviously criminal, but like they made the play, except like a professional football player didn't catch like the most catchable ball thrown all weekend. Like how often does that happen out of 100? That like 99 times out of 100 he catches that.
It's like a blue chipper who didn't catch it too.
Right, like especially because it's him. I mean, there's that moment like I have where I'm like, I feel like DeAndre Swift would have caught that. He was pretty good on those like rollout plays. Like he was really good on those like bubble screens and stuff. But then he was terrible across the first 2 weeks for Chicago. So who knows? But yeah, I mean, come on. You might as well go start making pizza rolls at that point. Like when the ball's thrown, you think he's going to walk it in. And then somehow he fucking muffs it. And
pizza rolls. I could go for some pizza rolls.
Fucking crush pizza rolls, dude. Love pizza rolls.
Microwave or oven? Microwave or oven?
Oven, dude.
Gotta go oven.
Oven.
Yeah, gotta go oven.
I don't think I've ever even tasted microwave pizza rolls.
People do microwave pizza rolls, dude.
No, you need to get the crispy outside.
Yeah,
you gotta get the crispy outside. It's like the best part. And then you just bite it, and then you can't feel your mouth for like a day and a half, and then you eat the rest of them. Yeah, dude. Fucking crush pizza rolls. In college we made a spaghetti and meatballs dinner for us and our neighbors. So there was like 14 people, and instead of meatballs we used pizza rolls, and it was delicious.
Ooh,
delicious. But that's the only kind of shit you can get away with in college. I wouldn't do that now. But it really went down well. We got red wine in a bag, a box or a bag, however you want to look at it. Those were the days. I drink mine out of a bottle now. What were we talking about? The NFL. Yes, the Eagles. I mean, I don't think Sirianni's a good coach. Do you think he's a good coach?
I think it's up in the air.
I just think there's moments where I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
I like that.
And the last season was very him.
At least he's consistent, though.
Consistently fucking stupid.
I don't know. He's at least aggressive. I kind of like his aggressiveness.
Don't you think the end of last season was like all him kind of melting down though for them?
Yes.
And like, I just think if you're gonna do that, like, I'm surprised he still has a job.
Kellen Moore to me is the most overrated fucking offensive coordinator. Everywhere he goes, it's the most basic and the dumbest third down calls ever.
I mean, I don't think that guy's a good coordinator either, but here we are. Like he's got a pretty high profile job with like a lot of
he's had it
really good skill players in that position. So like it's hard to tell, I mean, like Luke Getsy fucking I thought was terrible, is terrible, goes to the Raiders and wins the game on offense against the Ravens this weekend. And I think it's because he got screamed at, because he did. It's on tape by the coach. And he started getting better. But, you never know with these coordinators. You don't know where it starts. You don't know where the rot starts. You don't know who the actual problem is. If I had to guess in Dallas, it's Mike McCarthy.
No, I'm hungry.
Yes.
I want pizza rolls.
And if I had to guess in Philadelphia, I think if there is an issue there, it's Sirianni. But again, too early to tell. Moving right along to what I would call the next tier, the Steelers have made it to the top 5.
I think they're just by themselves. I put them by themselves. They haven't joined that upper tier yet.
That's fair.
But I think they're above the rest of these guys because of that defense.
I think that their
defense is that is the most elite. I mean, granted, this week it was the Broncos, but that's the best defense in the NFL.
I mean, if their I agree. If their offense was even slightly competent at scoring points. They would have had the two most convincing victories across the first 2 weeks of the NFL because they keep teams to such low point totals. And I think that's, to me, it's like they just don't let teams score. However they do it, they find a way. They've always been a decent turnover team, but it's never at the cost of like playing good, stifling, solid D. And the defense is, I think, what drags these teams into a Steelers-like game every week. Because every week you watch the Steelers, it's a real Steelers game. You know what I mean? Like they make
you
you
painful?
play. I mean, I like watching their defense play. I like watching Watt rush the passer because he basically makes it or almost makes it every single time. And it's like him and Crosby, I think, are just like on an island by themselves, to be honest. And I think Garrett is like slightly below them and just not in as good of a situation. And your guy, what's his name? Yeah. So
Micah's kind of dropped down a little bit.
I was gonna say he needs to have a bounce back year this year. But even if he's like, I mean, if he gets 18 sacks, you're in the top 6, 7 of like sacking numbers. TJ Watt's gonna get 23, right? Fucking Crosby's gonna get 25, maybe. And like that's where you're talking like the elite edge rushers, but only 1 or 2 teams have those guys. And they still built a lot of really good players around them. I like Fields, to be honest.
Those numbers are a little inflated, but that's fine.
Who?
25 is, I think the record's like 20.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
In a season? In a season?
Yeah, like 21 or 20.
Is that really? Did I overshoot it?
Yeah.
A season of sacks?
Yeah.
It's probably because I've been playing Madden. And my guy. The single season record is 22 and a half.
Yeah.
Which half sacks.
Is it still Strahan?
It's still Strahan, yeah, 2001. Oh, TJ Watt's tied with him, 22 and a half. So, I'm not far off from the guy who's probably
you weren't far off.
But I think it's because I got like 25 in my Madden season, but my guy's a 99 overall. So,
Ooh, nice.
I'm still playing on all Madden, but pass rushing is not that hard. It's just fun to just mindlessly try to sack the quarterback every single time.
But yeah, like career.
Yeah, like be a player, whatever the fuck they call it. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I do think that the offense looks like it has an upward trajectory. The Matt Canada offense, it was very like, we were all agreed. It was like, holy shit, this is
Fields is the guy, right? Fields is the guy.
I think that they're going to start letting him off the leash a little bit over the next couple of weeks, and we'll start to see it. I think that they were like, look, we're going to definitely win these first 2 games. They're just super winnable. They know how to go win football games. They know they're going to be able to keep them in the kind of game that they want to stay in. And then we're going to start getting a little dynamic. Like already Najee Harris looks like the player we thought he was in an Arthur Smith run game, right? I mean, Arthur Smith, say what you will about his time in Atlanta. I think he was always a top tier offensive coordinator. There's no way to get the head coaching job unless you are one of those things. And he always has really good blocking schemes for runners. And I think you can see that with Najee and Warren, and they're kind of 1-2 punch now. And the stuff they're being asked to do, that's going to get progressively better. And yeah, I think Fields like sort of, they're like, just don't throw it over the middle ever, because he can't. And that was a big problem when he was in Chicago. He just couldn't make those throws over the middle. So they just use him to the best of his ability. He can make outside throws. He's actually got a really good and accurate deep ball down the sideline, which I always said and always liked about him. He doesn't really know how to split up a zone over the middle. Maybe they can teach him that slowly but surely, but they don't have to right now. They're in a luxurious position. And yeah, I wouldn't sub him out for Russell Wilson. I don't see why not. He hasn't done anything
No reason
wrong.
to. Yeah, there's no reason to.
So, yeah, that's your Pittsburgh Steelers, everybody. The 49ers, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know. Tough game.
Explain it to me.
I don't know. I can't. I don't know what.
Are the Vikings good?
Really
should we have honorably mentioned Sam Darnold's Vikings?
Are they 2-0?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I don't have an explanation, Bob.
Maybe they're not bad. And
maybe the Vikings are good. Maybe the Vikings are good.
The 49ers are really banged up too, which is true.
But they're always banged up, though.
They are always banged
up.
They
sort of made that choice for themselves, don't you think? Like, By the time they added McCaffrey, it was like, damn, you guys have a lot of injury prone players.
What is he's out till at least week 6. So.
He's on IR.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that happens when you have Christian McCaffrey on your team. It just happens from time to time. Will Debo play a whole season? I doubt it.
He's out. He's already out.
Oh, he is out.
Yeah, he's out as of yesterday.
Damn, dude. Like, that's fast. Well, Kittle got hurt, but he was okay.
Yeah, Kittle's okay. Yeah, I don't know. The 49ers, they looked rough against the Vikings. It was a tough game.
Defense, though.
The
I really
Vikings
thought.
Yeah, I don't know. Sam Darnold looked pretty good.
Don't say that.
He did. 2 weeks in a row, he's looked okay.
Yeah, okay, fine. Sam Darnold's the second coming. Fucking hell. That's depressing. I just don't love it.
That's the state. That's the state of offense right now in the NFL. Is that the Vikings were one of the more impressive offenses so far.
Well, it's that time, folks. We got to do our last little game that we always play, and unfortunately,
we can't really do it this time, man.
You can kind of all right.
Yeah,
Well,
there's no NFC team.
So the top 4 are Chiefs, Texans, Bills, 49ers. I'll just give the Bills to the NFC for the purposes of this game, just for funsies, right? And where'd you go? I lose you. Oh no, I just lowered my thing. Say the Bills miraculously join the NFC and they're in the NFC Championship game and they're playing the 49ers. Who comes out to try to win it in the Super Bowl? Because right now, to me, the Bills look more convincing.
So you think the Bills would beat the 49ers so let's just say if the Bills and the 49ers played in the Super Bowl. The Bills, because I can't put them in the NFC. My brain won't let me.
I think you kind of have to. Can you imagine the 49ers going to the Super Bowl and losing again? Yes.
Yeah, to the Bills, for sure.
But then, can you imagine the Bills going to the Super Bowl and losing? Yeah, it's the easiest thing in the world to imagine. There's so many examples of it. I don't know. Again, too early to tell. I hate to keep hedging like this, but I'm not ready to overreact to anyone. Texans play the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game.
Ooh, that'd be such a good one.
I really liked how the Chiefs looked, to be honest, or how the Texans looked. I mean, I really just think Stroud is that dude. And even when he's like faced with adversity or things aren't clicking, he like makes it happen. He makes plays. He can read defenses
he's
already.
Definitely that dude. He's definitely that.
He can read defenses already at an elite level. I really like the weapons they've given him. I just think that they look the business. I hate them because I do think that game against the Bears was one no call of a late hit on the sideline against Caleb. I don't know what your opinion on that is, but I think it was a very late hit.
There was a couple.
I agree. I think there was some late hits, I think, that weren't getting called, and I wonder if Caleb Williams' name was Patrick Mahomes, would they get called? Because yes, they would, and then a few more. Because if we're being honest, the Chiefs and the Bengals. Oh yeah, Bengals missing from this list.
They're 0-2.
They looked pretty good against the Chiefs, though.
They did look pretty good.
I don't think they deserve to lose that game. I think the refs Chiefs bias is getting a little obvious.
If the Bengals win this game, what number on this list do you think they would have been? Probably pretty high.
Like 6 or 7.
Yeah, 6, yeah.
Like they're still in or thereabouts. They're in the conversation.
Would the Chiefs still be number 1? Probably, right?
If they lost to the Bengals?
Yeah.
No, I'd probably advocate for the Bills to be number 1 if that happened.
Just because they're 2-0.
Or the Texans.
I'd probably put the Texans at 1.
Yeah, I really think the Texans would look more convincing than the Bills.
It's a weird 2 weeks so far.
It's because the Texans are on the rise and the Bills are on their last chance to see if this is going to work, right? So you have the little bit more suspicion about the Bills, where it's like, well, I've seen that car fall apart already a couple times, and all the Texans had last year was like, well, they weren't even supposed to be there yet; they're ahead of schedule, so it doesn't even matter. Same with the Packers; they just have that kind of like optimistic shine on them, Could have been another honorable mention, winning without Malik Willis, or with Malik Willis, which I don't think anyone's ever done before. Congratulations on your first win in the NFL, Malik.
I think that is his first one, isn't it?
I mean, Yeah, almost definitely without even checking. Cardinals, another honorable mention. I mean, they just ran the fucking score up against the
Thank
Rams.
you, Rams. Yeah.
Marvin Harrison Jr. looked the business. He looked like he can make every catch that you can think of. But we knew that. Malik Neighbors looked the business, but he looked like he's going to be injured by week 9 because they just throw it to him every single time. And
Would he have
8
18
offense
targets?
Yeah, he's the only guy on the offense that can make plays. So I doubt he sees a whole season, to be totally honest with you. But I'm glad he's showing out. He's clearly good. And yeah, I mean, the top of the pile is the top of the pile. I mean, it's I just want to wait and see. I can't write off the Chiefs because they've had one good offensive week and one average offensive week. Kelsey, I just think they're keeping him on ice. They're just like not calling a ton of plays for him. And then towards the end of the season, they'll ramp him up and he's probably going to get a ton of catches in the playoffs, like a ton of targets and a ton of catches. So, and that's just smart with a guy that plays his position, that it is his age. I'm sure everybody wants their kicker to miss all the time. They're a pretty hateable team, but I still think they're probably deserve to be number 1 at this point. I can't really
Yeah, of course they do.
talk them down. And, I know you're once bitten, twice shy with them. You don't want to spend a whole season doubting them again just for them to fucking three-peat right in your face. So
That's what they would do too.
yeah.
That's
So the
fair.
best thing to stop the Chiefs from winning another Super Bowl is for Bobby to actually say that they're good. But
I said that to my dad this weekend. I was just like, that's what's going to happen. We're going to watch this entire season and they're just going to win another fucking Super Bowl. And it's just going to be fucking annoying.
nah, they're spoiling everything for everyone. But I do think that there's a lot to be said for week 3. And the old cliche of the power rankings, I think after this week, we're going to know a lot more. So for myself, DK Sizzle, for the real BK Bob Kelly, this has been the Power Ranking Show, week 2 of 17. Really looking forward to the rest of the NFL season. Final note, didn't love the 10 early games and then only like 3 in the afternoon.
I didn't like it either. I wasn't a fan.
Let's even that out a little bit next time. Raj, I know you always make it to the end, Raj. So let's get that schedule fixed up. All right, for myself and the real BK Bob Kelly, this has been the Power Ranking Show on Missing the Point.
Ever thought about starting your own podcast?
Do you have a business or a message you want to share with the world?
Well, now it's easier than ever with Electricast. Hi, I'm Mark Netter.
And I'm Peter Rafelson. We're the founders of Electricast Media.
Whether you want to start a new podcast or already have one, join Electricast to grow your audience, monetize your content, and build your community.
With our simple sign-up, you get free promotion, world-class analytics, premium ads, and personal support.
Go to electricast.com and join our community today.
Electricast. Transform your influence.
Electricast. Hey there, fabulous souls. I'm Stephanie Baklaan.
And I'm Eden Alpert.
And we're the hosts of the brand new podcast, Unapologetically Fab.
Get ready to join us on an amazing and real journey as we dive into life after 40 and own it.
We're all about changing the narrative, leaning into who you are, and living a life by your own design.
Join us as we embrace life unapologetically and redefine success.
This is Unapologetically Fab,
an Electricast production.
See you there.
Electricast. Electricast.